By the end of this episode, you are going to know why buying gold now is more important than it's ever been. Okay, so we've briefly talked about the title, why buying gold now is extremely important. In fact, it could be considered more important than ever. I mean, it's pretty fair to say that there's no stability in the markets in the world right now. And with today's latest news, that brings us on to the stocks tumbling in the US economy and stock market. There's been a massive slowdown in the US stock market, which has put fears into the market. And this has then had an effect on some big headers in the market. We saw that the Dow Jones opened more than 1,000 points down today. The S&P 500, which is always proven to be a really steadfast and secure long-term investment, dropped by 4.25%. That's quite a lot for the S&P 500 because it's considered a really low-risk, long-term, safe investment. The Nasdaq also plunged by 6% as well. So some big drops on some massive investment vehicles in the markets. However, it's not all doom and gloom because all three have started showing signs of recovery early in the morning. Now, why? Why has this happened? Well, to be honest, there is fear in the US economy right now, in the US markets. Let's be honest, there is a lot to talk about. We've got President Biden. It's fair to say that he hasn't been putting on a particularly good show. Some will argue that he's fine, some will argue that he's not. But from evidence of what's been seen, he doesn't look to be particularly stable. And of course, when you're the president of a country, the leader needs to be seen as secure, strong, transparent, clear. And that's not often the case with Biden at the moment. Then we move over to Trump. Previous presidential candidate, assassination attempt. I mean, this guy was an inch away from being assassinated. Now everybody's moved on and forgot about it because he didn't die. But can you imagine if he was an inch to the right? Well, it would be a different story, wouldn't it? And that would have dramatically affected the US economy and the globe. There's absolutely no way you can argue that. And also, there's war all over the eastern parts of the globe. The Western countries are getting involved in all sorts of conflicts and tear-ups. And I mean, this dramatically, although domestically it doesn't have a particularly large effect on your particular domestic country, whether you're in the UK, Canada, or America, it still has some form of kickback. And this all leads on to a slowdown in the market. And then that creates the possible idea of a recession. Although, yes, the US economy is leading without a doubt in the global economies, and it still will be, even with its downturn today, it does leave one open to some speculation. Is there going to be a recession? Probably not. But, you've got to look at some of the data and ask, why is this happening? Where is this coming from? However, we've gone through some of the doom and gloom, but I am an optimistic investor and I believe it's important to have faith. The US economy is a very strong market. It's a leading global market and a leading world power, and it's extremely resilient. I, for one, have multiple investment vehicles, and one of those is in the US economy, the S&P 500. And although it dropped by 4.25% today, specifically the S&P, it didn't worry me in the slightest because the S&P has had a 100-year average return of 10%. I'm a long-term investor. I look beyond the end of my nose and I don't get emotional when it comes to investing. And I think it's important to think that way as an investor. But that brings us on to gold. But why buy gold? Why is gold important? Well, when we see turmoil in the markets, and I've spoke about this many times before, but when evidence just keeps coming in and proving the point, I have to reinstate it because you have to talk about these topics because it just proves why certain investments do such a good job, and gold is in that category. Gold has proven to be an asset that protects and preserves your wealth. It hedges against inflation. It's extremely liquid. You own it. It's tangible. It's less trackable, less traceable as stocks and index funds. It's a real safe investment. For me, gold has to be the backbone of my investment portfolio. And of course, what happens when there's economic turmoil in the market? Gold prices increase. People run to gold bullion as an investment to preserve their wealth and protect their wealth. And we've seen that in the recent price of gold. It's spiked. It has slightly pulled back a little bit, but again, it's still spiked in relation to the opening markets in the US economy. And that leads me to the idea of what could gold end up being at. For sure, we're very close to seeing gold break 2,000 British sterling pound per ounce. Never been done before, but it's going to be done very, very soon. And I think that's very exciting for precious metals investors, not only because you're preserving your wealth and hedging against inflation, but you can actually invest in gold now and make great returns in less than 5 years. You can make great returns in a year. Gold averagely goes up around 9%. Obviously, that depends on year by year, but it's pretty consistent in that terms, not including the true rate of inflation, of course. But it's a real investment that not only protects you, but actually starting to really increase your wealth. Yes, stocks are fun. They're good. They give you great returns, and they're considered safe, mostly. And I'm particularly talking more on the side of index funds. But markets still move, and percentage of interest rates can dramatically affect these, but they don't affect gold. While everything else moves, gold always seems to hold very, very strong. And that brings me to a bit of a conclusion today. Diversification saves you. Debt can hurt you, especially from volatile rate changes. We can see that in the UK economy right now, with the interest rate being very high, and it's still not particularly pulled back to where we would like to see it. But gold will protect you. It's an investment that hedges against inflation, preserves your wealth, protects your wealth, but it's actually starting to increase your wealth quite dramatically. If you're someone that bought an ounce of gold bullion in 2022, 2023, you would have already seen some fantastic returns on that as an investment. And I know some people get funny about calling gold an investment, but I don't honestly care. For me, it's an asset. It's an investment vehicle in my portfolio. By definition, an asset that is something that puts money into your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. And I don't know how you could argue that gold isn't an asset. It isn't an investment asset. So for me, it's really important to focus on diversification. You can not only spread your risk, but you can spread your potential chance of yielding greater results. Instead of putting all of your eggs into one basket, consider dividing them up between multiple sectors, global sectors, and investment vehicles. It's a great way to really create good wealth management and to create long-term wealth. Don't forget though, investing comes at its own risk. Nothing is a sure thing, but if you can diversify and invest smartly and wisely, then the chances are you're going to look after yourself with great financial and wealth management. But overall, that's been my episode today on why buying gold now is important. Yes, the price is high, but it's only going to get higher in my opinion. A good way to prove that point would be to say the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the next best time is today. I'm going to leave you on that thought. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Make sure you let me know in the comment section below if you did enjoy it. And if you have, please consider subscribing and hitting that like button. Until next time, I look forward to seeing all of you in the very next episode. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye. Well, thank you very much for watching till the end of the episode. And for your loyal time, which I know is extremely valuable, I wanted to share something with you that I think may be very interesting. So if you've watched all the way till the end, I would assume that you've very much enjoyed the episode. So maybe you'll consider becoming a premium future investor here on YouTube. By joining the exclusive club, not only do you get priority reply to your comments, exclusive behind the scenes access to content, but you also get your YouTube channel linked in every single video description. And if that's not enough, you also get automatic entry every single month into awesome prize giveaways to reward your loyalty by being a premium future investor. And as you can see here, we've got some of the prizes coming up in the next few draws. We've got this 1 ounce 2023 Queen Elizabeth Britannia, an absolutely stunning piece. We've also got a 2022 1 ounce Canadian Maple, which I absolutely love. And we've got some extra goodies like this Winston Churchill commemorative numismatic coin and some custom cotton Tavex Bullion gloves. So if you want to be entered to have the chance to win these awesome prizes, consider becoming a channel member and supporting me here on future investments. Thank you very much for your valuable time. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you all in the very next episode.